Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day here in the AFTERBUZZ studio because we're talking about the season finale of Klaus, but we have so much juiciness to talk about, so don't move a muscle.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Do the Humpty Hump. Come on and do the Humpty Hump. This is a throwback.
It is. Back to the 90s.
I almost feel like I'm even a little too young for this song.
Yeah, me too. I had to be like an infant or like a toddler.
It's like one of those songs where you feel like you're nostalgic for it, but really you're not because you weren't even really...
weren't really paying attention or old enough to know better.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the reason it's playing, y'all, is because it was in the season finale of Claws, season 1, episode 10 that we're talking about today. To remind you guys, my name is Jeff Graham. I'll be leading the show today. Mariel, it's just us two.
I know. What's up, guys? I'm super sad this is the last episode. Like, crying tears. My name is Mariel Turner. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mariel_Turner.
So, Mariel,
yes.
What did you think of the season 1 finale of Claws on TNT?
I thought it was quintessentially Klaus. Like, it incorporated everything we've seen from this season, like this really silly moments where it's like, is this even really happening, to kind of the more serious moments, and then the big twist.
Yes.
Well, a few twists at the end where I was like, wait, I need more. Like, what does this mean? So I loved it.
I agree. I thought this was, I will say, I really liked this episode. In some ways, I felt like a little bit like it wasn't totally satisfying. I almost feel like it was so much plot, a little bit at the expense of character. But then again, there were like 3 or 4 scenes that were in the best of the season.
Yeah.
Do we have the chat pulled up? James Frank, Jimbo. We're getting the chat up now, guys. I know some of you guys are probably in there already, but we are going there. Yeah, I thought it was good, though. I think normally when I break down the episodes, I like to kind of go by character, but this was such like a avalanche. There you go. Did you guys see that? It's episode title. Such an avalanche of an episode that I think I just want to go in order.
Okay.
So we're going to go chronologically and see how we do.
Okay.
And I'm going to have the chats coming up in a minute. All right, there we go. James is making it bigger. All right, so at the very beginning, again, in the Clausiest way, we start right where we left off with this amusement park chase.
Yeah.
Pretty intense.
It was very intense, and I was like, okay, is he gonna notice that Desna's, has run away? Which, of course, he did at some point.
Right. I know. Well, when he was pulled between the Russians and Desna, I was really like suspense, like which way is he gonna go?
Yeah. I had a feeling he was gonna go for Desna because I think we saw, like, he really has this thing with her, like a love-hate thing. So, like, he's not going to let her get away without chasing her down. And Desna's, the lead. So I just knew he was just going to go after her.
He chases the Russians, and it's just those two for the whole entire episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you brought up this love-hate thing with Desna, because one thing this episode didn't really address was that completely, and I kind of wish it would have a little more. I don't know how you feel about that.
I agree, especially because they spent so much time kind of building that up the last episode. I believe it's last episode. Yeah, so sad season 1's over right now in the chat. I know. So yeah, it was, I thought that they would kind of get into that more, and it seems like I don't know, there's so much going on and so much more.
That's part of how I felt with the episode, was there was like so much going on. I thought at times it took away from what was actually going on, if that makes sense. Like I was like, all of a sudden this older woman at the country club has a gun, and I'm like, we've never met her. And then like the weird partner comes in, who we've hardly seen all season, but that's okay. I mean, like it was suspenseful, but I just like partly kind of miss a lot of the really deep character stuff, though we did get that. I might be being overly critical. I'd be curious in the chat, rate the episode for you out of 10, and then put a little reason as to why you felt it was that way. And I want to see if anyone's kind of on the same page I am. But I will say, after the amusement park chase, we wake up with Jen and the Jew for Jesus, Hank.
Oh, I know.
This was kind of like, what did you think of this?
You know what? For her marriage, I hated it. But for her, I kind of loved it.
I know.
I was like, she needs this. She needs someone. I think she mentioned it. Like, I need love and... She said something.
Affection.
Love and affection or something when she's in the bed. And I was like, she really just needs to unwind. So I was kind of... In a way, I was kind of happy for her, even though I knew it was going to cause drama.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Hank is going to die. I was going to save that for predictions, but I just have a feeling he's getting canned next season.
Yeah.
But I kind of like Hank.
I like him too. And he seems like he's really down for her. Like, he's really there for Jen. So, I don't know. I kind of liked it. They said 9 out of 10.
I love that you have Can't Be Pablo says 9 out of 10 nails. I love that so much. We were going to wear press-on nails for this episode, but it was too confusing.
Yeah.
Without Desna and the ladies here, we just wouldn't have pulled it off.
Yeah.
So.
Next season.
Next season. All right, so we get Wanda back.
We do. We get her back.
Not for long.
A brief moment, which is too bad. Like,
I know, she was fun.
she was fun. I really love her. I loved the actress on True Blood. Like, I don't know. I just love to see her. So, and she was hilarious.
She was
her scene was funny.
I know. We were trying to remember the line. Maybe in the chat.
Oh yeah,
you guys
they might know.
Metamorphexis, we'll jump in with this real quick. Metamorphexis says, it was definitely an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but some things I could see coming from a mile away. I kind of agree. 8. Who's the boat body? Great. Okay, we need to save all of this.
Yes, so
all you guys
much.
have all these good ideas, but it's going to come too fast. When we get to predictions, I need you all in the chat to hop back in with your ideas because I'm going to forget. Yeah, Wanda's gone. That was so intense.
It was, and I knew it was coming. I was
know.
like, don't go in for that ring. Who cares about the ring?
I
like,
know.
just get the grandkids and go. But it was so fitting of her character to be like, wait, I need my ring.
I
Gotta
know.
go back in. And she did take one out. You know,
She took one out.
She took one of the Russians out, and I was like, oh, this is so great. Like, so badass.
It was very badass. And the thing I liked about this was there was some development between Wanda and Uncle Dad's.
Yeah.
Can I call him Unc Dad? No, I'm not going to. I'll call him Uncle Daddy. And I know she's gone, but like, we had a lot of these moments of like, whoa. Scene partners being like very intensely intimate.
Yes. And at first it was really sad at first. I was like, oh, they, so much of that you didn't see their love. And so to see it, it was like, oh, that's kind of sad. And then when she mentioned her father, then it got kind of like funny.
Right.
So it was an interesting scene. I think the acting was great. Phenomenal,
Yeah.
of course.
The thing I liked about this too is I feel like this whole time I've kind of just assumed that Wanda and Uncle Daddy probably had a bit of a rift in their relationship because he's sleeping with a 21-year-old transvestite.
Yeah.
But she doesn't seem to care. I guess it's like their arrangement.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that the show is approaching that with like a non-judgmental lens.
Yeah, like, every marriage is different. Sometimes you need a Toby, to help
For
balance
sure.
things out. And they clearly loved each other very much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm engaged and I am dating a transvestite 21-year-old too. So I'm just kidding. That's no, but that's what I like is I think on any other show, a situation like this would be like a plot device to put a rift in their marriage.
Yeah.
But it seems like Wanda and Uncle Daddy were like in it till the end.
I know. I was actually really sad to see that end. I was like, wait, I wanted her next season. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm just reading these comments.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like a sad, funny.
Sad and funny.
Sad and funny.
That was this whole episode. Speaking of sad and funny, I might jump ahead to a similar scene. And of course, that was Jen and Bryce in the club.
Yeah.
That was
intense.
That might have been my favorite scene of this whole season.
Yeah, it was like, as soon as you felt like, oh my God, this is about to get so serious and so like sad, then you would have like a funny moment. I don't know, it's like this, and that's what I love about Klaus. Like, it's just this whole roller coaster of
I know.
Funny, sad, like it's just so much going on.
You just never know what's going to come next. I think what I liked about this Bryce Jen scene was that like it would turn every second. Like you would see the love for just a second, then you would see the bitterness, and then it kept going back and forth. And there was the moment when you think they're kind of making up, excuse me, and they both apologize. And Bryce is like, I know it's my fault that I turned you into a whore.
I was like, oh my God, he didn't say that.
You don't say that.
And then Jen got up and slapped him and was like, at least I'm not a murderer. And I'm like, they just had this moment and now they're back like butting heads. He like threw the chair.
Oh, the chair.
Yeah, it was, and then I was wondering, like, is he gonna hit her? Because I thought that when he threw the chair, I was like, oh, is he gonna, now he's this killer. So
I know. I thought she was gonna get knocked out.
Yeah.
I was surprised when that didn't happen.
That was a lot.
The other big fight scene, it's being talked about in the chat right now. Ooh, interesting. Okay, let's open this. Let's open this can of worms. Okay. Simone Umba in the chat says Jen got to get divorced from Bryce. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Jen and Bryce should stick it out, or do you think they're done? What do you think?
I think they gotta try to make it work.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a ton of issues and they're gonna have to work through them and probably go see a therapist. but they're perfect for each other. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
also kind of really like her with Hank.
I know.
I kind of really like them together. I don't know.
It's because Jen is such a sympathetic character. I think
Yeah.
part of that, I talk about it a lot, but Jen Lyon's performance is really like underrated on this show.
Yeah.
She's like the least quirky of the girls and like kind of like the least sassy,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. So sometimes that can be tough as an actress to really stand out, but like I feel like she's delivering such a bomb performance, and especially in this episode, like what a
Yeah.
multi-dimensional.
Yeah, to be like the grieving mother, the
Yes.
worried mother, and then to, also be the woman having the affair. And
Right.
she had so much going on. And yeah, I really loved her with Hank for some reason.
I know.
I feel
Well,
like
I
she
think
needs
it's because
someone.
she deserves a
Yes.
Hank,
Mhm.
but from the show perspective, I kind of like her with Bryce.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Right.
the drama. Like it would be
Right.
boring if she got with Hank.
Yeah.
But I think, and I know we're getting ahead, but I think Hank's going to get popped.
He's going to get killed.
I kind of
hope
think
not.
Bryce, because imagine the Bryce Jen drama if Bryce murders Hank.
Oh, yeah. It'll be really like, I hate you. I love you.
I know. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, the other big fight that it's been mentioned in the chat also took place in the strip club, and you mentioned it briefly, but it was The Boys.
Yes. When I was watching this, and what song were they playing?
James, I
Whitney
have a
Houston.
request. Can you play I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston while we have this discussion, just gently in the background? Our producer in the booth is the best. Yeah, this was, again, like, if there's one thing that this show did this season that, like, no other shows have tried to touch, is pairing music with
Yes.
these crazy scenes.
Yes, and it's like this is a song that I love. I feel like every woman like loves this and dances with their girlfriends,
Oh,
like
yeah.
whatever. And the fact that they were beating each other up, like these drug dealers were beating each other up with this song in the background, I was just like, what is this?
And then, of course, with Toby, they're like, Toby, here we go.
Yes.
Yes.
And yeah, then Toby comes in like, I don't know how to turn this off.
And they're like, he's like, I ain't doing nothing. And then I think you watched the after show. That was great, buddy. But yeah, as we listen, I'm picturing the fight. This was one of those moments where I was like, what's the tone here? Is it funny? Is it serious? James, can you pop that chat back up, buddy? And it was everything. It was serious,
was.
it was funny, it was sad, it was scary. Then after this fight, they get in a huddle and they start weeping.
Like bawling.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, this is literally, it's like there's so much going on. Like it's literally like this.
Well, the scene this is what I love, and like this is what the show does. The scene started so intense.
It did.
But then once the fight had gone on for like 2 minutes,
Right.
it was like
I was like,
this funny. And then once they start weeping, it was like hilarious. And like kind of
Yeah.
sweet.
It was.
Like this show is obsessed with like the kind of underdogs banding together thing. And of course we got that amazing scene with the girls at the end that we'll talk
Yeah.
about. But it was kind of nice to see the guys like get on the same team.
Yeah, and it was so funny because you come into this show and Uncle Daddy's like the enemy, right?
Right.
And by the end of this, or by this scene, he finds out that Desmond tried to kill
know.
Roller and finds out and they all end up being like a really quirky family at
It's
the
a quirky
end.
family.
He doesn't kill anybody.
Right.
They're all like, they band together kind of, which
sure.
I think in the beginning you did not see that coming.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it was smart to again like make Uncle Daddy seem so sympathetic with
Yeah.
Wanda. Like I think
Yeah.
that scene really did a good job of endearing us to him even more. Well, the fight happens because we learned that, of course, Roller had been sending money to the Russians. And I want to make sure in the chat that I'm saying this right because admittedly, even as a super fan and host of the Definitive After Show, I was a bit confused by this.
Okay.
It sounds like Roller was sleeping with Reva's niece. So the money he was sending was like kind of like quasi child support.
Yeah.
Because
Olga.
she was statutory.
Yeah.
She was 17 years old.
Which, who saw that coming?
Not me.
You thought it was drug related, right?
I know.
No.
Can you imagine if in predictions? I predict that Roller's sleeping with this 25-year-old woman who's actually 17 and it's like a kind of a statutory rape blackmail thing.
And he has a kid. Like, what?
Yeah.
It was weird.
That's a good point. Manisha Taylor says, I'm glad everyone's business is out in the open again. I know.
Yeah,
I think
me
that's a
too.
really important framework for season 2.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. It was interesting for us to have a reason that Roller was colluding with the Russians. I thought that was like an interesting plot development and pretty smart on the writer's
Yeah.
part. Okay, what else are we missing? I'm kind of jumping around, but just so much happened.
No.
I guess it was briefly mentioned in the chat, but let's talk about Marnie and Polly.
Yeah. I'm a little confused by this storyline, to be honest.
This was the one part, and I'll be interested to see what you guys think in the chat, but this is the one part of the episode where I was like, did we need this in the finale?
Yeah.
Do you feel like this added a lot to the finale?
No, I actually would have rather seen like Polly and Dr. Ken like and see that
Get it
grow.
on.
Yeah, get it on and like have a quirky, crazy discussion as opposed to, I don't know, it just seemed kind of misplaced almost.
Seemed kind of misplaced. I'm not really sure what it gave us besides some more character development for Polly, which was interesting. And I bet she'll be back next season, but it kind of felt like a little tacked on.
Yeah.
Like this whole show has been planting these seeds that have really paid off. And like we met Marnie in like episode 4.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that really paid off for me this season. I don't know if it's going to pay off later in the season or not, but
yeah.
I feel like I could have done without this.
Yeah, I do think the one interesting moment where she said the pain you're feeling is your old life leaving, your new life coming in, which is like, some background on her own situation and how she handles life and why she has all these identities. And so I thought that was a little interesting, but overall, I mean, I think it could have been Dr. Ken and
I know.
Polly.
I agree, though. Now that you brought that up, of it's your old life leaving and your new one coming in, there's something that's really beautiful about that being said in the finale.
Yeah.
Because so much change happened that quote could kind of apply to like us moving into season 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
So I guess you just made that scene better for me, Mariel, with your brilliant criticism.
Thank you.
So
I
smart.
try.
Marnie's mom is a piece of crap. Okay, I'm going to read what Melissa says.
Okay.
Marnie's the daughter Polly always wanted. That's interesting. Marnie's mom is a piece of crap selling her daughter possibly for drugs and a ride. Like, WTF, and what was the point of even showing this? I kind of agree.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. This is okay. It was setting up Polly and Marnie and Ken as a season 2 plotline. I agree.
Yeah, like a quirky family. Kind of. That's, was randomly thrown together, but works. Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see that play out. And we had Jason Antoon here last week. We did. He's great.
He's great. So I'm excited that he's going to be featured even more in season 2.
Yeah.
He deserves it. Okay. What else are we missing? I just want to make sure, because we got to get to the penultimate scene.
Right.
Talked about Wanda. Oh, Dean.
Oh my God.
The Dean stuff this episode.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was a lot. It was a lot. The whole episode was so intense.
The whole episode was a lot.
Yeah, and Dean was like no exception to that. And I think when he kind of called out Desna, like, you make bad decisions, and it's like, yeah, he has a point.
He's secret. The thing I like about Klaus is Dean is like the most stable character on the show.
He is.
And like, it's really cool that the writers were like, let's take the stereotypically challenged character and make him like the voice of reason.
Right. Like he's the, the quote unquote normal one. He's the one that's not killing, that's not committing any crimes, not doing drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I wasn't necessarily, in episode 1, I wasn't necessarily totally on board with Harold Perrineau's performance.
Yeah, I remember that.
But now I'm like, there's truly not a bad performance in this show.
Oh, no.
Everyone's great.
I think he really makes sure to, give it justice and not be insensitive to the character that he's portraying.
It's a very full performance.
And I remember thinking, like, he's probably done a lot of research and, things to kind of build his character into a realistic autistic character. So.
Try to get him on next season.
Yeah.
Thinking about this cast, I really hope that they can like sneak some kind of ensemble acting award, like Critics' Choice. I just feel like this is the kind of show that critics always sleep on because it's like kind of sleazy and
silly, and I like.
But the performances are like very good.
They're so good,
especially across the board. There's not really like a weak character on the show for me.
I mean, even the person I feel like people would think, oh, she can't act, Karuchi, she's been amazing.
She's great. I know.
This season, so. I think they definitely deserve something.
We're going to talk about Karuchi. Not yet, but we learned some stuff.
Oh, man.
About Virginia.
I knew that was a bad idea.
Yeah. So we finally end up at like this country club kind of like party where we go to like finally re-meet with the Russians because of course we haven't mentioned it yet, but the whole thing driving all this is that Brienne, who's Jen's black daughter.
Right.
The black one.
Not the white one.
The black one. Who we still haven't learned about, by the way.
I think it was mentioned a few episodes back that like her father, her father was like a black guy who got sent to prison or something. I don't remember exactly. But it was like, so before she got with Bryce, she had a child with like some black guy.
Got it.
I feel like I remember.
What if it's the Haitian that she had a child with? Can you imagine?
We
would have learned that by now.
Yeah, we probably would have learned it.
They know Desna's with her, but Wow. Melissa thinks Carucci might win an Emmy.
I think she already has one for doing some web series.
She really does have 2 Emmys.
Yeah, she does.
What, like a secret baller?
I know. She's killing the game.
She's
Carucci
killing.
girl, you are killing the game.
Killing the game. Come on our show next season.
Right. Come on the show. Talk about it.
Okay, so now I think we can talk about the country club. So they go to try to go get Brienne. And there's just all these, like, I've got you, but you've got me, but I've got you, and you've got me.
There's like moments I was like, oh yes, like he's not gonna sign over and Desmond will be free.
I know.
And then it just kept turning and turning. And then like all these old people at the country club end up being Russian assassins. Like, what?
This was an example of maybe the episode getting like just one notch too plotty for me. Like I feel like it almost took away from like the stakes when it was like, okay, now there's another gun being pointed, but like that's okay. Like I'm not gonna hate on this show because I love the show, but that was just like maybe the one scene where I was, you know what though, I was gasping. I was on the edge of my seat. So
at first, like when they first took out the guys and Roller came in, I was like, yes. And then it's like the turnaround. Yeah, it was a lot.
Jay Snowden says, this is honestly the first show I've seen with a huge room full of gun-wielding elderly folks.
Yes.
That's true.
And then I wanted to ask the Russian mob lady, like, how did you get these people to do this?
Yeah. I think it was just like, did you watch Glow this season?
I watched a few episodes. I never finished it, though.
Okay. Later in the season, they go to like a Russian bris, which is like a circumcision party.
Really?
Yeah. And it was kind of like, I do feel like the Russians, like, I don't want to stereotype. This might be like an ivory-skinned, like, Californian being like, from what I understand of Russian culture. But I feel like Russians stick together, you know?
Yeah, that's the vibe I
Old or
get.
young. Let us know if you're Russian.
Right. Hop in the chat. Let us know if we're
Let me know if I'm bastardizing.
Stereotypes.
But eventually, the conclusion is that like Riva lets Desna stay and is like, "Hey, we'll give Brienne back, but we own the Dixie Mafia.
Yeah, we own everything.
We own everything. We also own your salon, and you're still laundering money for us."
Which I hated.
Yeah, Riva won the old lady mafia, the Golden Girls.
Yes.
That's what they should call it.
They should. The Golden Girls Mafia. But yeah, I hated that. Because I was like, Desna's fine. Like this whole season, she's been working to be free. And she's finally free. And then she's like reeled back in.
But I kind of loved it.
Really?
Because I would have been sad. I was reading like some coverage online that was like also annoyed and like irritated that like they finally got their salon and they're going back to Artisan Nails.
Yeah.
But like Artisan Nails is like the spot.
It's like home.
Wouldn't you have missed it if it was gone next season, or do you think you're ready to move on?
No, I think I'm ready.
Are you?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. And I just, looking back on this
Well, I think you're wrong, Mariel.
Like, I really feel for her and Dean and how she's finally getting a salon. She's finally going to get, like, a decent house out the mold and all the stuff they've gone through. I just thought she deserved, like, a bigger, better salon.
Yeah, she does deserve it. But, like, the thing is, like, if she's balling with Riva, like, maybe her and Riva... Because
really cool.
We have to talk about all these factions that could develop. But, like, I'm like, maybe just because she's at Artisan Nails doesn't mean she can't ball. I mean, like...
True.
I don't know. We'll have to see. but, like, I'm so glad for the minor problems I had with this episode. Having the girls back and, like, friends again was, like, kind of emotional.
Yeah, I really loved it. I don't know. At one point, I did feel like this is wrapping it up too much. You know what I mean? Like... You know, I was like,
it's a little too clean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
A little too clean, and I almost felt like it's a series finale, maybe.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is where everything is like tied in a neat bow, sort of.
A little bit. It was a little too calm.
Yeah.
It did feel like there was all this chaos, and then like kind of quickly it was like the girls are back doing their thing.
Yeah, and it's settled. I mean, which they threw in the surprises at the very end. But in that moment, I was like, oh, now they're back at Artisans, like. Where is this all gonna go?
It's a great point that Jay Snowden just brought up. It's like it's such a female empowerment show. It's kind of badass that it was Riva and Desna who kind of make the deal happen.
I did notice that, and I loved it. I love that the leader of the Russian mafia is a woman, and I think throughout the show they really push like women being leaders and taking charge, and it's a very female-centric show.
It's awesome.
And as a woman, like, I just love that.
For sure. As a man who never sees that kind of stuff on TV, I also love it.
Yeah.
This is interesting. It sounds like the chat is kind of divided on whether or not they liked like Glint versus Artisan. So let us know in the comments. Like, what do you think? Are you happy that Desna's staying at Glint? Are you happy that Desna's going back to Artisan, or do you wish they kind of would have moved forward? I don't know.
Simone says she can run both. Just staff people at Glint. Yeah, because I guess she still owns Glint.
I guess, yeah. She just has to work. I mean, we'll just have to see. There's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying about it being maybe a little too neat at the end, but I guess we have to talk about there's like 3 twists.
Right. The major
We'll just talk
ones.
about the 2 major twists.
Okay.
So she goes back to Artisan.
Yes.
We learned that Virginia has a baby.
Is pregnant. Oh, God. This is why I was like, I don't think they need to be together, even though in a way they kind of complemented each other. But Dean, I don't think, is prepared for fatherhood.
Well, are we sure it's Dean's?
Oh, that's true. What if
Because
it's Rollers?
she be sleeping with Roller at the beginning.
I know. Oh my
Yeah.
God, what if it is Rollers?
We don't know.
I won't even be surprised. I feel like nothing on the show can surprise. Like,
I know.
Like, it can go either way.
Do you guys think it's Dean's baby, Roller's baby, or an option C?
I think it's Dean's baby.
I think it's probably Dean's baby. Or I bet she thinks it's Dean's baby,
But really, it's like Rollers.
but maybe it's Roller's baby. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. And then finally, this was like the moment when I was like blown away, but also a little bit like, hold up, wait, what?
Yeah.
It was when the Dixie Mafia is in trouble. 100% of their assets are owned by the Russians. And they're like, okay, we need an even bigger power player.
Who can?
And it's the Haitians?
Right.
What did you think of this?
And just when I feel like we were like, oh, he's just a doctor.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
that was me all season. I was like,
Right.
he's nobody.
Like, he's nobody. Because I thought, oh, maybe he's a police officer.
Yeah.
Maybe he's this. And then it was like, oh, it's clearly he is just a doctor who loves Desna. And then he turns, and then when they showed the bald head, I was like, it's him. And then he turned around, and I was like, oh my gosh. So
I have so many questions.
Yes, like, what's his motive?
What's his motive? Was his being with Desna coincidental?
I don't think so.
That's what you're saying. It's like, what was his motive?
Yeah.
I was a little bit like, okay, now help me understand why, like,
Like, I feel like it can't be a coincidence. Because he lied about being a doctor to her. Like, there has to be some reason that...
he wanted in.
Yeah, he wanted into that world. And maybe
Yeah.
he knew she was working with the mafia. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that couldn't just randomly happen. Like,
Definitely
I feel like
not.
it has to be...
There has to be something bigger at play, but I don't really know what. And I guess that's interesting. We'll have to see how it plays. But, like, here's what will be interesting. If Desna and Riva get kind of tight, and then like the Dixie Mafia, Uncle Daddy, and this Haitian get kind of tight, but Desna and the Haitian are still hooking up.
Yeah.
That could get very complicated, Romeo and Juliet
messy.
style.
And then I wonder, does the Haitian really love, or is he really into Desna, or is that like another plot point, you know? Like, maybe they're not so into each other.
I'm just enjoying the chat. I think Monisha thinks that it's Dean's baby because the way he'd been giving that Virginia the big O every night.
I feel like it's definitely Dean's baby.
I feel like it's going to be Rollers.
And it's just going to be a mess. And it's also, is she going to keep the baby or not?
I know. Yeah, I kind of have a feeling she won't.
Yeah.
Which might kill Dean.
Yeah. And he's going to be heartbroken.
Oof. I guess with that, should we go ahead and get into some predictions?
Let's do it.
I know.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. So, we've kind of been touching on all of this. The Haitian doctor, it's hard because it's like, in a way, because everything was wrapped up kind of cleanly.
Yeah. And
But
they
all
threw
this,
in there.
for better or worse word, all this shit was thrown at us at the end.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what they're going to do with it, which is kind of exciting because it's like the doors are wide open.
Yeah, it's like a fresh start for season
It's like
2.
a fresh start for season 2, which I think is good. I do think, I mentioned it already, but I think like Virginia, I think Dean, there's a lot of characters on the show.
So much
I
going
think
on.
Jen, Bryce, Hank is going to become a problematic love triangle.
I agree. Because at first, you know, when they introduced Hank, I thought that he was just going to be like a, you know, maybe a hookup character, like one time. But it seems like they do have a connection. And I don't think she's going to cut off Hank.
No, I don't think so either.
I think it's gonna become like a messy love triangle.
I agree.
It's gonna go.
And I don't know. I fear for Hank's safety. I mentioned that already.
Yeah, I think he's gonna die. I don't know. I'm not sold. But he also could die, and I would be like, oh, that makes sense.
Klaus.
Yeah, Klaus. That makes sense.
Let's go character by character. So that's where we're at with Jen. Okay, Quiet Anne, I will say, probably my biggest disappointment of the season.
Yeah.
I love her, but like I just don't feel like we got enough with Quiet Anne.
Yeah, and I feel like as soon as she got a story, it was kind of snatched away from her, you know, with the police officer girlfriend.
Okay, we got to read this prediction. We're going to go back to Quiet Anne, but Simone says the baby's going to be Rollers, and Uncle Daddy will make him marry her to continue the crazy family business. Imagine, because if if Virginia gets... Whoa.
That would be... Dean... Oh, that would be a mess. Dean would be hysterical.
Yeah. Especially because he likes Roller.
Yeah, and he loves right? He loves them all.
Yeah,
poor Dean. No, they can't do that to Dean.
Okay, we're going to get to Polly. So yeah, Quiet Anne... there's so much potential with that character, and we got hints of it, but I just don't feel like we quite unlocked that potential, and that's okay. We have plenty more seasons with her, but we know that Judy's such a gifted actress that I want to see more.
I hope we get more of her backstory, and hopefully see, you know, how the whole but having love of my life get arrested for something I did plays out.
Yeah.
Oh, the body in the boat. Yeah. Good question.
Body in the boat. We're gonna get to that.
So much.
Who are we missing? We've got Quiet Anne, Jen, Polly. We have this new family thing.
Yeah, I love Polly. I think
love her.
She's I think she might be my favorite character. Yeah.
I think when I look back, I feel like in a weird way, Jen was my favorite character on this show. I just feel like she was kind of slept on, and she gave us like the kind of... She was a bit of a breath of fresh air compared to the other, and I think I might just have a small crush on Jen Lyon.
I think you do.
Quiet Anne, Polly, Jen. Who am I missing? Oh, Virginia, we talked.
Right.
Desna, we've kind of talked. I feel like in some ways we've sort of done predictions throughout the after show.
Yeah, with Desna.
But the body in the boat. This is what the chat's been talking about this whole time, and it's crazy.
Yeah. I could almost see that never being brought up, though, in a way.
I feel like it will.
Really?
I just feel like it might be something we don't know anything about yet, but like it's going to be something significant.
Yeah,
like what if
big.
it like ties into the Haitian or something?
I was just going to say that. The doctor who's not a doctor. It might tie into that.
And then maybe that's how he knew Desna?
Yeah.
Was because the other body was tied to Desna, so he wanted to get with Desna?
And that's why he sought her out?
Yes.
Oh, I could see that maybe.
We will see. I want to do one more segment before we go, and that's what we want for season 2, rather than predictions. But before we do that, I want to talk about a show on A&E called Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. We talked about it last week.
We did.
This show is crazy. I've been watching. Leah Remini's doing a lot of press right now.
Isn't it insane?
Yeah, the show's crazy. I like Leah Remini a lot.
Yeah, I love her.
She kind of feels like she's us. You know what I mean?
She seems very down to earth. Like, she just sit and have a girl chat with her.
Yeah.
It would be great.
I feel like she'd fit right in the cast of Klaus. Like, I'd love to see Leah Remini do a little spot on Klaus next season.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Either way, she has a kick-ass show on A&E called Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. This show is about the craziness that is Scientology. We live in Los Angeles. Scientology is bananas.
It's everywhere. And, you know, having moved here from the Midwest, from Detroit, and when I saw the Scientology Center and campus, I was like, wow, this is intense.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of this, like, far-off thing, brick building, what's inside.
Yeah.
This show shows you what's inside, which, like, never happens because Hollywood is so afraid to expose the truth.
Right.
But let's talk about this show. It's an Emmy-nominated, groundbreaking docuseries, and it's coming back for season 2. It's back. It's actually back for season 2. It's Tuesdays at 9 on A&E. Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath follows her along with high-level former Scientology executives and church members as they delve deep into the shocking stories of abuse, heartbreak, and harassment. This season, she continues her quest to give a voice to the victims of the church, and it also explores the accounts of former members whose lives have been significantly impacted by the church's practices. Remini is helping people take action, turning survivors into fighters, just like Klaus.
Hey.
And it reveals truths and seeks justice in the world of Scientology. So catch up on A&E.com, A&ETV.com. You can see season 1. And people love Leah. She's brave, she's amazing, and she's us.
She is.
Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath on A&E, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Check it out.
Check it out, guys.
Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before we go is, like, what we want to see from season 2. Like, for me, I want to ask you first. What were your favorite things about season 1?
Favorite thing. Well, I would say more, for me, it was more storylines and characters. I love Polly, like I said. She's my favorite. So I would like to see more of her and Dr. Ken and how that whole family dynamic works with Marnie. Even though I'm not too sold on Marnie. But I do love Polly and Dr. Ken. So I would love to see more of that and see how they make their craziness work.
Yeah.
And then I would love to see Desna get what she deserves. That's what I want for season 2. I want her to get like the bomb, beautiful nail salon and to not have to deal with all of the craziness that follows her all the time.
Yeah, I agree. To me, some of my favorite moments in this show are the 5 girls together. Like when you think about it, we actually didn't get that a ton in season 1.
Yeah.
Or I feel like we could have gotten more of it. I'm just like always distracted by the chat. But the moments we did get of just the girls, like even that like nail expo scene and like the Lady Marmalade, like I love those moments. And like, I think I'd like to just get more of like the 5 gals gabbing like gals, you know?
Having a good time.
Having some rosé at someone's apartment. Like sometimes the show got a little too crime drama for me and not enough like Orange is the New Black lady drama.
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
Which I love.
I love that too.
Love Orange is the New Black. So I would like to see that more for season 2.
But because that was the stuff to me that really worked. And sometimes the like really intricate crime details, even though they were like really elegantly plotted and very well written, sometimes like took away from what I actually love about the show.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when it comes to characters like, Quiet Anne, maybe just building out the girls a little bit more and their relationships.
Which we can totally do. Like a lot of times that's what season 2s are. Is like the chance to do that. And like for a season 1 of a show, amazing.
I know. It has like by the end, it's like you're hooked. Like,
oh my gosh.
Wait, so you can't just end it there. Like, what does this mean?
And for a show as like weird as this one and confident, it really did a good job. It's like a very risk-taking show, and very few shows swing as much as they do in a season 1 as this show did.
I definitely think it was a risk, including some of those crazy elements and not knowing how the audience would react to kind of the silliness of the show that can be there sometimes. So
Agreed.
I think that, obviously the risk paid off because there's a season 2.
Hell yeah, there is.
Coming, so...
I just saw I won a rivalry with another nail salon. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. Kind of like what they had with Glint, even though that was only like 1 episode.
Right. That was fun. Any other things? We're going to start to wrap, but in the chat, if there's anything else you want to see in season 2, let us know. Or in the comments, if there's anything else you want to see in season 2, let us know. I guess this is it, Mariel.
I know. I'm so sad to see it go.
I'm really sad, too.
I know. This is such a fun panel, such a fun show. I'm going to miss it. It's like, what? When am I going to watch on my...
I know. This is like my Sunday. I don't watch Thrones. I know I'm the only person in Los Angeles.
You don't watch Thrones?
I know. And like, I know I would love it, but this was like my Sunday show. So I'm like, what's next for me now that Klaus is done?
Well, you should watch Thrones.
I know. That'll be my
help.
next binge.
It helps me feel a little bit better about my Sundays.
Yeah,
that's what
I've heard. Well, let's make our way out.
Okay.
For the last time this season, guys, my name is Jeff Graham. If you want to find me online, you can do so at Jeffrey C. Graham. I also host a show on Fridays, guys, called The Unproduced Table Read. It's a show where we read Hollywood's hottest unproduced pilots and features. This Friday, we're reading a comedy pilot called Classified, and it's kind of like a The Office-style, NSA-based office comedy, workplace comedy. It's very fun and very silly and kind of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office, like fun. So that's Fridays at 10 a.m. on the Popcorn Talk Network, which is our sister network. Google it.
Okay, and for the last time this season, I'm Mariel Turner. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mariel_Turner, and you can also find me on Mondays at 6 on Black Hollywood Live, where I'm hosting Insecure After Show. Tune in.
Well, Mariel, I guess this is it. Thank you to Jesse and Kelly, by the way. They're not here this week, but and thank you to all of our fans. Let me just say that real quick. Quickly, I do want to promote the network. If you guys like the show, AfterBuzz TV has like 1 million after shows.
Like thousands.
Yeah, so check them out. Also, check out our podcast and give us some good ratings. That helps us way more than you know. And this isn't the end of the conversation. Mariel's on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. The other guys are on Twitter.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with us. It's fun, and we love you guys.
Yeah.
And with that, we're out of here, guys. Bye.
Yeah.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.